I've noticed something interesting over the years talking to people with high incomes. On paper, they're doing extremely well. Six figures, sometimes well into the 200K range. But when you actually hear them talk about money, there's often a surprising amount of stress underneath it. It doesn't match what most people would assume making it feels like. I remember a conversation with someone making over 200K in tech who told me, almost embarrassed, that he felt like he was living paycheck to paycheck. Not because he was careless, but because every raise got absorbed by a slightly better apartment, a nicer car, and more expensive dinners, and suddenly his baseline lifestyle kept creeping up. And that's what throws people off. You make more money, but the financial pressure doesn't really go away. It just changes shape. So why does 200K not feel like freedom? Because income alone isn't the full story, and there's a hidden dynamic that most high earners don't notice until it quietly starts controlling their financial decisions. So here is Humphrey Yang. Over the years, one of the most consistent patterns I've noticed has very little to do with income itself, and a lot more to do with how people respond when that income changes. It shows up across different professions too. Engineers, doctors, people in finance, consultants, people who, by most standards, are doing extremely well. What's interesting is that the financial stress doesn't disappear as their income grows. It just becomes more subtle, more acceptable, and harder to recognize from the outside. I've seen people go from $60K to $120,000 and feel a sense of relief for a short period of time, only to gradually return to the same level of financial anxiety. Then I've seen the same thing happen at $200,000. The numbers change, but the emotional relationship with money often doesn't improve in the way people expect it to. And when you start looking closely at why that happens, it usually isn't because people are irresponsible or bad with money. In fact, many of them are quite disciplined on paper. They save, they invest, they contribute to retirement accounts. But behaviorally, something else is happening underneath those decisions. This is where behavioral finance becomes more important than spreadsheets. Because what I've consistently observed is that people don't just adjust their savings when their income rises. They adjust their identity. Their lifestyle, expectations, and normal cost of living quietly move upward with each raise. And once that new baseline is established, it doesn't feel like excess anymore. It just feels normal. That shift is subtle, but it's powerful enough to override even good financial habits over time. And if you're listening to this and thinking, yeah, that sounds familiar, you're not alone in that feeling. Because this is where things get confusing for a lot of high earners. On paper, everything looks correct. The salary is good, the job is stable, the savings account is growing, even if slowly. And yet, month after month, there's this quiet sense of, why doesn't it feel like more? You're not necessarily overspending in an obvious way. It's not like there's one big mistake you can point to. It's more subtle than that. Rent gets upgraded because now you can afford a better place. The car payment goes up because you've earned a little comfort. Subscriptions multiply without much thought. Travel becomes more frequent, but also more expensive. Even daily habits, food, coffee, convenience, start to shift upward without a formal decision. And the tricky part is, none of it feels irresponsible in the moment. In fact, most of it feels justified. You tell yourself, I work hard, I deserve this. And you do. The problem is not the individual decisions, it's how automatically they stack on top of each other. So even though your income increases, your financial breathing room doesn't expand in the same way. And that creates this strange emotional contradiction where you're doing everything right, but still feeling like you're stuck in the same place financially. What's actually happening here usually comes down to a few behavioral patterns that stack on top of each other. And once you see them clearly, the picture starts to make a lot more sense. The first one is lifestyle inflation. This is probably the most obvious, but also the most underestimated. When income increases, spending doesn't just rise slowly, it tends to adjust almost immediately. You get a raise, and within a few months, your normal life starts to quietly upgrade to match it. A slightly better apartment, more convenience, more comfort. It doesn't feel like a big decision in the moment. It feels like alignment with your new reality. But over time, that new reality becomes the baseline you can't really go back from. Then there are invisible fixed costs. This is where things get sticky. Once you commit to a certain lifestyle level, say a higher rent, a car lease, or a set of recurring subscriptions, you've essentially locked in a portion of your income. For example, someone might move from a $1,200 apartment to a $2,500 one after a salary jump. At first, it feels manageable, but that decision doesn't flex when life gets uncertain. It just sits there every month, quietly reducing your financial flexibility. The third layer is taxes and withholding reality. A $200,000 salary sounds like a lot, and it is, but what actually hits your account after taxes, deductions, and retirement contributions is a very different number. People often mentally anchor to gross income, not net, which creates a subtle mismatch between expectation and reality. And finally, there's the spending psychology of "I earned this." This is where behavior gets emotional. After long hours, stress, and responsibility, spending starts to feel like a reward system. Small upgrades don't feel like indulgence, they feel justified. But when that mindset becomes habitual, spending scales with effort, not with long-term financial goals. Individually, none of these are extreme, but together, they slowly reshape what enough feels like. At the core of all of this is a simple distinction that often gets overlooked. Income is not the same thing as wealth. Income is just the flow of money coming in. It's what you earn from your job, your business, your investments. It's active, it's ongoing, and it resets every month or every paycheck cycle. Wealth, on the other hand, is what actually accumulates over time. It's your net worth, the assets you've built up after subtracting what you owe. A simple way to think about it is this: income is the faucet and wealth is the bathtub. You can have a very strong faucet, meaning a high income, but if the drain is wide open because spending is high, the bathtub never really fills up. That's essentially what's happening for a lot of high earners. Money is flowing in at a strong rate, but it's also flowing out just as quickly through lifestyle costs, fixed expenses, and ongoing consumption. This is why someone making $200K can still end up with relatively low net worth compared to someone making half that amount but saving and investing consistently. It's not just about how much comes in, it's about how much is left and what gets done with it. And this is where spending rate becomes more important than salary. Because salary creates the illusion of progress, but spending determines whether any of that progress actually sticks over time. This is where it starts to feel personal for a lot of people watching. Because if you're earning in the 100 to 300K range, you're in a bracket that most people would assume comes with financial ease. And yet the reality can feel very different. There's still budgeting in your head. There's still checking balances before making certain decisions. There's still that low-level anxiety of wondering if you're actually doing well enough. And that disconnect usually comes down to one thing. Income alone doesn't resolve financial pressure if your spending rises alongside it. If your lifestyle grows at the same pace as your income, nothing really changes. You just operate at a higher numerical level, but the underlying structure stays the same. The same percentage of your money is going out every month, the same obligations exist, and the same lack of breathing room follows you, just with bigger numbers attached. That's why financial anxiety doesn't automatically disappear when you reach a higher salary. It only fades when there's a gap between what you earn and what you spend. That gap is what actually creates stability. And that's also why net worth becomes the real scoreboard, not income. Income tells you what your potential is. Net worth tells you what you've actually kept. It's the accumulation of all the decisions you've made when no one was watching. Because real financial freedom isn't about how much you make. It's about how much of it you get to keep, and how much control you have over what happens next. So the goal here isn't to tell you to live like you're broke or to suddenly start cutting everything you enjoy. That usually doesn't last anyway. The more realistic shift is about creating a bit of structure so your income increase actually translates into something lasting. One of the simplest changes is to intentionally slow down lifestyle upgrades after your income goes up. Not forever, but at least for a window of time, like 6 to 12 months. That pause is important because it stops the automatic upgrade everything immediately cycle and gives you space to actually feel the impact of the raise before adjusting your life around it. Another shift is to automate your investing before you even see the money. When contributions to savings or index funds happen first, spending naturally adjusts to what's left instead of the other way around. It removes a lot of decision fatigue and emotional spending in the moment. It also helps to track your actual savings rate, not just your income. Two people earning the same amount can end up in completely different financial positions, simply because one is saving 10% and the other is saving 30%. That percentage tells you far more than the salary number ever will. And finally, separating your accounts can make a real difference. One account for earning, one for spending. It creates a mental boundary between money that's available and money that's already assigned. None of this is extreme, but together, these small shifts start to give you something a high income alone can't guarantee: control. One of the biggest traps I see is how quickly people normalize lifestyle upgrades after a raise. It doesn't even feel like a decision most of the time. You get a better job or a salary bump, and suddenly the old version of your life starts feeling temporary. So you move, you lease, you upgrade, almost automatically. Most people don't notice this happening in real time. It just feels like progress. Another common one is confusing income growth with financial progress. Your paycheck goes up and it creates the illusion that your finances are improving in a meaningful way. But if your spending adjusts at the same pace, your actual net position hasn't changed much. You're running faster, but on the same track. Then there's something quieter, but just as important: rising fixed expenses that go untracked. Rent, subscriptions, insurance, car payments, these don't feel emotional like shopping does, so they rarely get questioned. But over time, they become the foundation of your financial life, and they don't shrink when you need flexibility. And finally, a lot of high earners delay investing because they assume high income will take care of it later. There's this subtle belief that once you make enough, saving will naturally happen. But in reality, if investing isn't prioritized early, it often gets permanently pushed to the side. None of these mistakes feel dramatic on their own. That's the key. They build slowly, quietly, and by the time they're noticeable, they already feel normal. At this point, I'm curious how much of this feels familiar to your own situation. Have you ever had a period where your income went up, maybe even significantly, and instead of feeling more financially free, you just felt the same? Or sometimes even a little more pressured, because expectations around your lifestyle quietly changed with it. And if you think about your own spending over the last few years, do you notice a pattern where your expenses naturally followed your income upward? Not in a dramatic way, but in small steps that didn't feel like decisions at the time. Just normal progress, normal upgrades, normal life. It's interesting when you start paying attention to that relationship between earning and spending, because most of it isn't obvious until you actually look back. At the moment, everything feels justified, but over time, those small adjustments create a financial baseline that can be surprisingly hard to move away from. I think this is something a lot of people only realize when they pause and actually map it out honestly for themselves. So I'd be genuinely interested. Have you noticed this pattern in your own life, or maybe with someone close to you? And when you reflect on it, what part of your financial behavior feels the most automatic, the least intentional? If there's one takeaway from all of this, it's that high income by itself doesn't guarantee financial progress. You can be making $200K, even more, and still feel like you're not really moving forward financially if the structure around that income isn't working in your favor. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about what comes in, it's about what actually stays and what gets built with it over time. Spending behavior ends up playing a much bigger role than most people expect, not because spending is bad, but because it quietly defines the gap between income and wealth. And that gap is what determines whether your financial life feels stable or constantly stretched. That's why net worth is such a more honest measure of progress. It strips away the noise of salary increases, job titles, and short-term earnings, and focuses instead on accumulation, what you've actually kept and grown over time. And the important thing to remember is that none of this changes overnight. Financial growth is usually gradual. It comes from small shifts in awareness, small adjustments in behavior, and a better understanding of how your money actually moves. And honestly, that awareness alone is often where real change begins. If this idea resonated with you, it's worth continuing to build on it slowly, without trying to overhaul everything at once. Because understanding how income turns into wealth is just the starting point. The more interesting part is learning how day-to-day spending behavior quietly shapes your long-term financial outcome, and how small adjustments in that behavior can compound over time. You might find it helpful to explore how different wealth-building habits actually work in real life. Things like how investing habits form, why some people build net worth faster on the same salary, and how financial awareness changes the way you make everyday decisions without feeling restrictive. A lot of this isn't about making drastic changes. It's more about noticing patterns you didn't see before, and gradually aligning your money decisions with the future you actually want to build. And if there's one thing to keep in mind as you continue learning this, it's that financial clarity is built over time, not overnight.